Somebody's lying. Yeah, Myles Garrett still says Mason Randolph said it. He told ESPN over the weekend that Randolph called him a stupid N-word, and that's what set him off and led him to smack Randolph in the head with his own helmet that he had ripped off of Randolph's head. Nobody's buying it here in Western PA, but how about in Cleveland? Well, Bud Shaw has been covering sports in Cleveland for a long time, almost as long as I've been covering it here in Pittsburgh, off and on. Now he's doing commentary for WKYC TV, and he joins us now. Bud, thanks for coming on again. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you, John.
So how is this playing in Cleveland? I got a feeling it's different there.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess you'd have to say it's playing along party lines. You know, people think that there's no way Garrett would be bringing something up like this yet again, unless you feel strongly that it happened. The one interesting sidelight of this is that John Dorsey, the fired general manager, or I guess I have to say that they left on terms of a mutual agreement, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, the guy's no longer here anymore, has remained in the area, and one of the reporters, Tony Grossi, who's been covering the team for a long time, ran into John recently, and John says that this is the story that Garrett was telling the night of the game, that he didn't tell it to the media, but he told it to other coaches and teammates. So in his mind, at least, Garrett is being consistent. Whether that leads anyone else outside of Cleveland to believe he's being truthful is another question.
Yeah, but Dorsey never said anything about this until just recently, right? I mean, he didn't say anything. Did he bring that up? Was he still the general manager? Well, he was when this happened, right?
Yeah, sure. He was the general manager until the end of the season when they made the change.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think in his mind, he respects Garrett's wishes to not make a public deal out of this. Okay. Garrett was going to get his hearing with the league. And we know that Garrett did say something to the league when he went up to talk to them about the incident. Then someone, who knows who, leaked the fact that he was making this allegation. So it became a story back then after his meeting with the league. And I don't know why he felt the need after reinstatement to cover this old ground again. I thought it was needless. I don't see what the end game is for him. He's either going to come out looking like a guy who's still making excuses for his behavior, or he's going to come out looking like a liar, depending on what your perspective is.
Yeah, well, in his defense, I think anyway that he said this in the response to a question from someone at ESPN. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if he came out with a statement or anything. He was asked about it, right?
Yeah, right. And I think, John, again, if I were advising him, and he will never ask for my advice, I'm
right,
sure.
Right.
I would say, hey, just if you're asked this again, just say, hey, look, I said what I said, and I'm moving on. I'm reinstated. I don't want to deal with, I'm not going to relive this episode again. But he feels, I guess, that there was something said. I mean, is there a possibility, I guess, that he thinks he heard something and Randolph didn't say it? Mm-hmm. Randolph said something else. So I don't know. I mean, it's very. I just don't know where the story goes.
Right.
Some Cleveland Browns writers are saying that they believe him, and they say that based on getting to know the guy in the locker room. And I don't know well enough. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to say whether I believe him or don't believe him. I mean, only two guys really know what was said at the bottom of the pile, I assume.
Yeah, my issue is that, first of all, this was a pretty big deal long before he showed up at the meeting with the league. I don't know how long it was from the time it was a few days, but I mean, it was blowing up all over the country. Everybody in the world saw the video, and for him, number one, not to say it. And number two, for him to have told Dorsey, and Dorsey, who was the general manager at the time, to not come immediately out and say that, I'm just not buying it. Sorry. I mean, that somebody would have said it right away. Because that first of all, you've been around sports a long time, so have I. For a white guy to call someone use that word and call somebody that name on the field when his coach is black, when probably 80% of his teammates are black, and it just makes no sense that anybody would. I don't care how heated the moment got. You just don't. If he was the worst racist in the world, I don't think he says it.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of where I came at it from. I just found it hard to believe a guy who would say something like that, not knowing whether his own center is standing next to him,
right,
or other offensive linemen. I don't understand. In Cleveland, one of the defenses of Myles Garrett is that he's an otherwise, reflective, soft-spoken, sort of Renaissance kind of guy, and that, boy, for him to react the way he did, clearly something got said. That defense to me, it just feels like it's, full of holes. He started the season punching the tight end for the Tennessee Titans in the head and got a 15-yard penalty for that. I doubt that anything was said along those lines then that precipitated it. So he's shown himself capable of losing his cool on a football field without being goaded into it by some, racial slur.
Talking to Bud Shaw of WKYC-TV up in Cleveland. Bud, how long have you been covering sports up there?
I got here in 1991.
All right, so only 29 years.
Yeah, only 29 years. And I was told at the time, John, that somebody I trusted said to me, "Wait till you see this town when the Browns really get good."
Oh,
and
boy.
I thought, yeah, that will be fun.
Yeah,
and I'm still waiting for that.
Yes, yeah, that's
29 years later.
Wow,
yeah.
It's a long time. So if you polled Garrett's teammates privately, what percentage do you think would say they believe him?
That's a great question. I
Privately,
don't really. Yeah. I think probably a majority, because he seems, to be a guy that everybody likes, a guy that puts great effort out on the football field every day at practice. Has been one of the very quiet leaders on this team. So I guess, just from an allegiance standpoint, a lot of these guys would say, yeah, okay, that could have happened. But, I thought one of the things that he ended up doing the other day, when I said there was no really good end game to this, is that he didn't really clear himself by bringing this up again. He hasn't convinced anybody who wasn't already convinced that this happened. And he sort of puts the onus on the league in suggesting that they're trying to cover this thing up because of the audio.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was necessarily fair, and not knowing what happened between the two guys, it's hard to really say anything more conclusive than that.
Well, there is a conspiracy theory out there that's seems to be popping up more and more. The conspiracy is that the theory is, I should say, that the NFL does have audio proof that Rudolph said it, but doesn't want to release it. That makes no sense to me, because people are making this assumption that everything that's ever been said on a football field during a game is recorded on some device somewhere, and it's idiotic. It's not true.
No, I think people have this mistaken impression that when they watch an NFL films production that stuff's out there for 3 hours and that everybody has access to it if they wanted it. That's not the case.
Yeah, it's just dumb. So were you at the game last November?
I was.
And what do you remember in the aftermath in the post-game situation there, and what people were saying? Was it even brought up that there was a reason for Garrett to go off the way he did?
No, a couple of things struck me in watching that game, and I covered Steelers games in Western Pennsylvania for a few years. I was in Philadelphia. I was in San Diego. So I've been covering the NFL probably going back to 1976 or 77. And I haven't seen anything quite like that. So when he did what he did, I felt like I was watching something that was pretty egregious. Okay, simple. I go out and I start walking downstairs. I run into a former NFL lineman who who played for the Browns at one point, and he looked at me, and instead of saying, well, you know, that guy was asking for it, he said to me, he should be gone for the rest of the year.
Wow.
So, you know, I think the guys that even played the game recognized that it was well above and beyond anything that most of us have seen.
Yeah.
So then when you get downstairs, the thing that jumps out at me about that is that his quarterback and his coach basically just lambasted him. They didn't make any allowance for the fact that anything else could have possibly triggered this.
Yeah.
It was the only time all season that Kitchens was as critical of a player after the game. And Baker Mayfield didn't give him any margins either. He went right after him and said this couldn't happen, shouldn't have happened. This cost the organization. It made the organization look ridiculous. And he apologized, you know, on behalf of Garrett to Rudolph and the Steelers organization. So then we have Garrett facing the music at his locker. And again, for whatever reason, he may have had a reason why he didn't want to bring it up, but he didn't bring it up. And then at some point he issues an apology to Mason, that he includes Mason Rudolph in, which seemed a little bit odd to me too, if you still have those feelings about what you believe Rudolph said. So those are all the things that struck me after the game. It doesn't mean I'm saying that I think he's lying. I'm just saying that those struck me as, first of all, it's the suspension being warranted, and then his explanation for it leaving a lot to be desired.
Yeah, neither of us is black, so you know, I don't attempt to try to put myself in a black person's shoes if someone does call me that name. Okay, but if he was mad enough from what he said that he thinks that justified, maybe not justified, but led him to beating the guy over the head with a helmet. It's really hard to imagine a guy being able to compose himself after being that upset about something somebody said, and then, you know, 15, 20 minutes later, not bringing it up as to the reason why it happened. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and even now as he's reliving it with the ESPN, the Mina Kimes interview, it seems to me as if he's trying to have it both ways. He wants this out there again, that he believes this happened, but he's also trying to say, look, that didn't justify my reaction, and also I just think this is all over with. Well, you can't say you believe it's over with if you're the one who's basically feeding it. So I'm not sure exactly what he was going for in that interview, but I thought it fell flat for him personally.
Last thing, I got about a minute. I know you got to go do some TV. I wrote a column about this over the weekend at triblive.com, and I said that if Garrett is lying about this, it's worse than hitting Rudolph with his helmet. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I would, given the climate, given the makeup of the sport, given the fact that there are, lots of teammates of both races that are, being brought into this thing. Yeah, I agree with you.
Hey, Bud, I appreciate you doing this. One of these times I'm going to have you on to talk about the Browns doing what you said at the beginning there, showing you what that city can do when there's a really good football team.
Well, hurry up, John. I just turned 65.
All right. I'll work on it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
See you.
All right.
Take care.
That's Bud Shaw of WKYC TV in Cleveland. I knew him back in, 1978, 79 when he was covering the Steelers for a paper back east. Anyway, that's it. We'll be back with another little sports item, by the way. Stick around.
2020 is the year your business is going to thrive. Resolve to use digital marketing to your advantage with the help from the pros at Salem Surround. Whether you're just testing the waters of digital marketing or already have a plan in place that's not getting results, we give you all the right tools to surround your target audience and turn website visitors into website leads. Salem Surround provides your business with all your marketing needs under one roof. Face it, if you're not effectively using digital media, you're behind the competition and losing losing sales. Salem Surround will help identify any weak points in your marketing strategy and consult with you to bring solutions that will meet your needs and exceed your expectations. Total market penetration for increased return on investment. Contact Salem Surround for a free evaluation of your digital presence and learn how to get your advertising message in front of today's consumers. Learn more at surroundpittsburgh.com. surroundpittsburgh.com, connecting you with new customers.
I'm Andy Solomon. Rideshare platforms have evolved to provide riders with even better experiences. Sheriff John Wetzel, chairman of the National Sheriff's Association Traffic Safety Committee and former president of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, explains.
Companies like Lyft are making rider safety a priority by continuously screening their drivers. Before getting into any car, riders should match the license plate, car model, and driver's name with what's shown in the app. During your ride, you can share your location and route with your family and friends.
According to Wetzel, communities where Lyft is available have also seen lower rates of impaired driving and fatal crashes.
For example, Miami-Dade police announced that there was a 65% decline in impaired driving arrests in 2017 compared to the 4 prior years, thanks in part to ride-sharing. Nationally, 71% of Lyft riders say they are less likely to drive while impaired because of the availability of ride-sharing services.
For more information, visit Lyft.com.
If you're in HR, you're probably wearing a lot of hats. Recruiter, team builder, trainer, mediator, policymaker, and of course, paper pusher. But not anymore. Bamboo HR is the #1 HR software for small and medium businesses. It manages all your employee data easily and automates countless tasks, so you can focus on people, not paperwork. Bamboo HR frees you from spreadsheets, so you can do your real job, creating a great place to work. If the data shuffle and paperwork mountain have you ready to hang up all your hats, you're ready for Bamboo. If you handle HR records and paperwork, Bamboo HR is a dream. Let us free up your time and put your days of pushing paperwork behind you so you can focus on the people and making your company a great place to work for everyone. Try PC Magazine's top pick for HR software free today. Just go to bamboohr.com/radio. This is a limited offer only available to radio listeners at bamboohr.com/radio. That's bamboohr.com/radio.
I am doing it all. The water, the fiber, the exercise, but I still have constipation with belly pain, straining, and bloating that keep coming back. My doctor said that I may have a chronic medical condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C.
Linzess, linaclotide, is a prescription medication that treats adults with IBS with constipation. Linzess helps relieve belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Individual results may vary. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com. That's LINZESS.com. Or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Pain or no pain, your wisdom teeth should be checked every year. Some wisdom teeth can become impacted by never breaking through the gum, which can lead to cysts, tooth decay, and gum disease. Find a surgeon near you for a complete examination at myoms.org.
You're listening to the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Well, how about if we stick with sports here for a second till the break? Have you seen the story about? And I love it when sports and politics intersect, because that's kind of what I like to do here on the show. But Aubrey Huff played for the San Francisco Giants in 2010, and they won the World Championship. They won the World Series. He was there. He led the team in home runs. He finished second in the league in the MVP voting that year. So, I mean, it was in 2010, and now it's 2020, so they like to do this in sports. They like to have reunions because they can sell tickets and make money on it. Plus, it's a nice thing for the fans. So they're having a 10-year reunion for the 2010 championship team, except that Aubrey Huff is not invited. Apparently, they don't like some of the stuff that Aubrey has been putting up on his social media platform. So here's the statement from the San Francisco Giants. Earlier this month, we reached out to Aubrey Huff to let him know that he will not be included in the upcoming 2010 World Series Championship reunion. Aubrey has made multiple comments on social media that are unacceptable and run counter to the values of our organization. He's been canceled, in other words. While we appreciate the many contributions that Aubrey made to the 2010 championship season, we stand by our decision. Then Huff went on his Twitter. He came off on Twitter with this to the Giants board members who seem to think every Giants fan is a liberal. They aren't. I have had thousands of diehard Giants fans reach out to me on my social media platform to support me. I'm proud of what I accomplished in my 3 years with the Giants. I made lifelong memories with teammates that can never be taken away from me. And while I'm disappointed the Giants are so opposed to President Trump and our constitutional rights that they'd uninvite me to my team's reunion, it shows me that now more than ever we have to stand up for our First Amendment rights. And then he said he was interviewed by The Athletic, sports website, really good one, by the way. He said, quote, quite frankly, shocked, disappointed. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be having a reunion, which is 100% true. He was probably their MVP, their most valuable player. But if they want to stick with their politically correct progressive BS, only he didn't say BS, that's fine. So Aubrey Huff, and then there's this, I don't know what some of his other tweets were that were offensive, but here's a tweet that he put out there that he said he thinks may have been the one that might have cost him, made it so that the Giants uninvited him. It's a tweet that came out, I don't know, a while back, but it says it's a picture of him with his son and some guns at a gun range, and he says, getting my boys trained up on how to use a gun in the unlikely event Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump in 2020, in which case knowing how to effectively use a gun under socialism will be a must. By the way, most of the headshots were theirs. That's, I guess he's referring to the shots on the target that they were taking. So that's Aubrey Huff, and he's being uninvited for apparently being a little bit too interested in Donald Trump being reelected, maybe liking guns a little too much. I don't know what else was on his Twitter feed over the years, but another story of sports and politics kind of intersecting, and it's a reunion, for a team. Just shut up. And have the reunion and bring the players out and let the fans cheer. And if somebody wants to boo them because they don't like Donald Trump, let them boo. But there has to be somebody else on that 2010 team who has said something offensive somewhere on Twitter that you could cancel him for it too. Tell him he's not allowed to show up. And here's my other question, for which I have no answer. And maybe if you can help me out with this, let me know. But I'm just wondering how many people in the sports media in San Francisco and elsewhere, all over the country, because this story has made it all over the country, how many people in the sports media would dare to come forward and support Huff and say that he's getting a raw deal here? How many people would do that? My guess would be, might be zero, but there'd be very few. And I'm going to guess that most of them are thinking that this is what he deserves for, number one, liking guns, and number two, for saying that he'd like to see Bernie Sanders defeated and Donald Trump elected president. So the Giants hope they have a nice reunion. I'll talk to you in a minute. Stick around.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Trump is on a 4-day trip to several western states. The president traveling to California, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado for a combination of official business and campaign events. His schedule includes fundraisers, meetings, speeches, and rallies. Water levels are dropping, but more rain is coming for parts of the flood-ravaged South. Walmart reporting disappointing fourth-quarter profits and sales after a sluggish and shortened holiday shopping season. Violent protest in Chile, where there are hundreds of Walmart stores cut into international sales. Walmart's same-store sales of 1.9% this quarter, well below the 3.2% increase in the previous period. Stocks closing mixed on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 165 points. The Nasdaq was ahead 1, and the S&P was down 9. This is SRN News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.23%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 10 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Mike Gallagher has seen the worst from the left.
Rush Limbaugh announced yesterday he has been diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. If you had any doubt about how evil a lot of people are on the left, how vile and vicious and sick they are, you should take a stroll down social media and see some of the hideous things they've said about a 69-year-old man's cancer diagnosis.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at noon on AM 1250. The Answer.
When you shop Goodwill, you don't just bring home a vintage dress or cat lamp. You bring home so much good to your community because everything you buy funds local job training and more. Goodwill, bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman. Writing an estate plan is one thing. Having the experience to administer the estate is something else. At Abernathy & Hagerman, estate administration isn't a side job, it's what we do. You have the same goals we all do, to protect your assets, to minimize taxes, and ensure your inheritance gets to the ones that you love. How you get there, that's specific to you. So let's talk. Hagerman Law, legal help that lasts a lifetime. Visit a-h.law.
When you've got water, fire, or smoke damage, there's no debate. You have to vote yellow. Call ServiceMaster of Greater Pittsburgh. Our team is ready to help 24 hours a day.
Demand the yellow van. Call ServiceMaster.
This election year, you can vote red or you can vote blue, but yellow is always the right choice. Demand the yellow van when you have water damage and call ServiceMaster of Greater Pittsburgh.
Demand the yellow van. Call ServiceMaster.
The Allegheny Institute for Public Policy has been Greater Pittsburgh's trusted source for sound public policy analysis since 1995. About to celebrate its 25th anniversary, the think tank's research, education, and advocacy have steadfastly worked to defend taxpayers and businesses against the inefficiency and intrusiveness of ever-expanding burdensome government. You can join the cause today by making a tax-deductible donation by visiting AlleghenyInstitute.org.
AM 1250 and FM 92.5. The Answer. WPGP Pittsburgh. W223CS Pittsburgh. A division of Salem Media Group. Listen on the Answer mobile app, smart speakers, TuneIn, iHeart, or radio.com. Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
Heavy delays continue on the outbound Parkway East. Forbes Avenue stacked up to approaching Edgewood Swissvale. There was an accident clear from there. Inbound also heavy Edgewood Swissvale to the tunnel. Parkway West delays outbound Banksville Road to Carnegie, and some pockets of volume slowing down inbound Green Tree to the Fort Pitt Tunnel. Also seeing some delays on 28 outbound Veterans Bridge to 40th Street and from Route 8 to the Highland Park Bridge. That's a look at traffic. I'm Jenny Robinson.
AM 1250, The Answer. Weather.
Mostly cloudy skies tonight, quite breezy with a low 27. Partial sunshine tomorrow with a high 36. Tomorrow night, clear early, followed by thickening clouds with a low of 18. Clouds and breaks of sunshine for Thursday with a high of 27. And Friday, an abundant amount of sun with a high of 34. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Gregory Patrick.
The John Steigerwald Show. AM 1250, The Answer.
The Democrats have another debate tonight And Michael Bloomberg may have actually given people a reason to watch. They might actually get some decent ratings tonight. Bernie Sanders is the front-runner, and nobody thinks Pete Buttigieg can get the nomination. Elizabeth Warren crashed and burned a long time ago. Believe it or not, Joe Biden said he was in California the other day when he was, in Nevada. It's close. It's one state away, but Bloomberg has spent over $100 million on ads, and he got himself qualified for that debate tonight. And you know how Bernie feels about billionaires, so it might actually be interesting. But what really could make it interesting, if anybody on the stage brings up some of the Bloomberg's videos that have been going viral, like this one from 2011.
For a long time, people have said there's nothing you can do about it, but the blacks and Latinos score terribly in school testing compared to whites and Asians. If you look at our jails, it's predominantly minorities. If you look at where crime takes place, it's in minority neighborhoods. If you look at who the victims and the perpetrators are, it's virtually all minorities. This is something that has gone on for a long time. I assume it's prevalent elsewhere, but certainly true in New York City. And for many, many years, people said there was just nothing you can do about it. Now, what we have done in the last 10 years is we've cut the testing gap in schools for black and Latino kids versus white and Asian kids in half, but they still are way behind. We have tried to diversify our police department so that it really does mirror the community's ethnicity, and they've brought crime down dramatically. We have the lowest crime rate we've ever had in the history of the city, and that's particularly important to black and Latino kids and their families and their neighborhoods because that's where the crime is. So they benefit from that, and we've done a number of these kinds of things trying to attract the kind of jobs that are available to people who maybe don't have a formal education, have dropped out of school, or don't have great command of the English language, or have a blemish on their resume which would keep them from getting a job at a more traditional firm where they do an extensive background check. And so we've tried to attract industries that can use the people here who are unemployed. But nevertheless, there's this enormous cohort of black and Latino males aged, let's say, 16 to 25, that don't have jobs, don't have any prospects, don't know how to find jobs, don't know what their skill sets are, don't know how to behave in the workplace where they have to work collaboratively and collectively.
So that's not what you say if you're a Democrat. Now, I don't know how many people are coming to his defense or saying that anything he said in there was true, but there's a lot of truth sprinkled in that statement. And he said there's a large cohort of black and Latino males, 16 to 25, who don't have great work experience. And that he's speaking about New York City. I don't know what's a cohort. I got to believe it. There's some truth to that. That's the problem that Democrats have been talking about for years, about how to fix that. And the disagreement seems to be about how to fix it, not whether or not it needs to be fixed. But he's going to pay a price for that. He'll be declared a racist for saying that. And it'll be interesting to see if it comes up on the debate tonight. It would be more interesting if there were actually a black or a Latino still in the race, but it's all white people now, and mostly old white people who are still running for the nomination. And a good debate moderator would play that video for Bloomberg and make him comment on it, but I wouldn't bet on that happening either. Meanwhile, and then there's this from Bloomberg in 2016.
Think about it. The agrarian society lasted 3,000 years, and we could teach processes. I could teach anybody, even people in this room, so no offense intended, to be a farmer. It's a process. You dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that. Then you have 300 years of the industrial society. You put the piece of metal on the lathe, you turn the crank in the direction of the arrow, and you can have a job. And we created a lot of jobs. 98% of the world worked in agriculture. Today, it's 2% in the United States. Now comes the information economy. And the information economy is fundamentally different because it's built around replacing people with technology And the skill sets that you have to learn are how to think and analyze. And that is a whole degree level different. You have to have a different skill set. You have to have a lot more gray matter.
You got to have a lot more gray matter to work in work as a computer programmer doing code than you do for, planting seeds, I guess. That'll go over real well in the Midwest. The governor of North Dakota has already called Bloomberg an elitist snob for that one. And you wonder if that might come up tonight at the debate. Somebody might want to play that for him. We'll see. I got a feeling it's not going to happen. But in the meantime, somebody should play this commentary from way back from Paul Harvey, the former, the late radio commentator. Somebody got to play this for Bloomberg.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, and dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painin' from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds and yet stop in midfield and race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
Yeah, that was, I think that ad was an ad that ran in the Super Bowl a long time ago, TV ad, and there's video, obviously, that goes with that, some great pictures. But Bloomberg, kind of just, what'd he say? You dig a hole, you throw some seed in there, put some water on it, and up comes the corn. Might show that Mike's, a little bit maybe too New York-centric. Maybe he spent a little too much time in the big city. Enjoys eating the food that those farmers make, but he doesn't think it takes a whole lot of smarts to be one. This is I think you could say that this is the guy who seems to be emerging as the number 2 guy in the race for the Democratic nomination. As I said, nobody thinks Pete Buttigieg can get the nomination. Elizabeth Warren's not going anywhere. She's been done for a while. Joe Biden is an idiot. It's pretty much Bernie and Bloomberg. And by the way, I think Bloomberg is older than Bernie and older than Biden. They're both older than Biden. I know Bernie's older than Biden. So you have the 2 top guys in the Democratic Party. You talk about old white guys. They're both older than I am. They're in their late 70s. They're both from back east, the Northeast, and they're both raging liberals. And I wonder if anybody will expose them in the debate tonight. Will anybody go after them? They have to, because it's the last chance for Elizabeth Warren. She's not, as I said, she's not going anywhere. She crashed and burned a while back. But if she has any hope of getting back in it in any way, she's going to have to just have a spectacular performance tonight in the debate. By the way, if you need me while the debate's going on, I'll be watching the hockey game. The Penguins are playing tonight. I will not be watching that debate. I will be looking forward, though, to the highlights. I can't sit through however many hours it is, 2 hours or something, just to see what they might be able to get on Bloomberg and look for what might be an interesting few minutes when he is confronted with his stupidity. And I can't believe the ratings are going to be very good for that debate tonight. But Bloomberg is inching his way up. I saw a little story just a little while ago. I forget where it was. It was he was asking people to come out and vote. It was a special election or something like that, and he's giving away free food. He gives away free food, and everybody was lining up to get it. Apparently, it was pretty good food they were giving away, and he's also paying people, from what I understand, to tweet nice things about him. So, and he's got $63 billion, something like that he has. He's in his late 70s, so he's probably gonna have a tough time spending that before he dies. So if he could drop literally $3-4 billion on the election between now and November if he were to get the nomination, and wouldn't even notice it. I hope he does, by the way. I actually hope that Bernie Sanders gets the nomination, because that will be even funnier. Listening to him talking about how wonderful it was in the Soviet Union and how much he liked Fidel Castro. Those things are actually a lot dumber than the video, the sound bites you just heard from Bloomberg. But when we come back, I got another little sports story kind of for you. We've kind of spent a lot of time mixing sports and politics and culture today, something I like to do. We'll do that when we come back. Stick around. They blow into town with the wind, rain, and hail. And out-of-town storm chasers going door to door, often posing as a local company offering a quick fix to desperate homeowners. If you've had damage to your roof, windows, siding, or gutters and downspouts, you may be eligible to get them replaced or repaired free of charge. Just be careful who you call. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com for a free inspection from one of their highly trained appraisers. With over 50 years in home remodeling, Windows R Us is the area's premier exterior replacement company for roofs, siding, gutters and downspouts, doors, and of course windows. If damage isn't your issue and you just want something new, you'll love their no-pressure approach, no hidden fees, and one of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. A company who will never skip town when it comes to honoring their warranty. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. Mention STAG for an additional 10% off. Windows R Us, proud sponsor of the Jerk of the Week, heard every Friday on the John Steigerwald Show. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
Like the rest of us, you're probably tired of all those annoying sales calls to your home telephone number. Now, there's a solution. OurOldNumber.com will block those pesky robocalls from getting through, and most live sales calls will hang up. So how does it work? Callers to your home telephone number will hear a personalized greeting from you. The caller selects the family member they wish to reach, and the call is immediately forwarded onto the family member's cell phone. There's no equipment to buy, there's nothing to install, no long-term contracts. It's still your phone number and remains in directory assistance. The service is only $9.99 per month, and you can eliminate your landline connection and save money. Now, calls to your home phone number can reach any member of the family wherever they are and get rid of those annoying sales calls. OurOldNumber.com. It's just $9.99 per month. Go to OurOldNumber.com to learn how you can get started blocking sales calls today. That's OurOldNumber.com. OurOldNumber.com. You'll be glad you did.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/America. That's ZipRecruiter.com/America. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/America.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
This is the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Well, we started with sports. We had Bud Shaw on from Cleveland to talk about the Myles Garrett, Mason Randolph fiasco, which it's become. So I thought I'd throw this in there. This is more sports, sort of, and not really sports at all, but it's a gigantic sports figure and mixing with culture and politics. This is Dwayne Wade, one of the best players in NBA history, who's now retired, and he was on Good Morning America today with Robin Roberts.
We love the fact that she doesn't have to hide who she is.
She seems wise beyond her 12 years, because when you hear more of that conversation in the golf cart, and you said that she helped you and the family have a better understanding and helped you with this. How was she able to do that?
Well, she is our leader. It was a process for us to sit down with our daughter and find out who she is and what she likes, and not put something on her, because as parents, we put our hopes and we put our fears on our kids.
Right.
And with Zaya, we decided to listen to her, and she's leading us along this journey.
You didn't have to put this in the documentary.
Nope.
Why did you, and what was that family discussion to reveal this way?
And that's what we're trying to do. We know it's other families out there that's dealing with their kid, finding themselves and learning who they are.
And what is your advice to a parent who is struggling to accept their child for any reason?
Yeah.
And how do you protect her? Because I think some parents they want to accept and they're understanding, but as a parent, you want to protect your child. And as much support as you have received, there has been criticism as well. And for your daughter to even admit that. And your son, that beautiful posting and saying, referring to they. So how do you handle those people who are less than supportive?
But she's known that for 9 years, since she was 3 years old.
She's known since she was 3.
She's known since she was 3 years old.
Okay, so he was talking about his son, who's now decided that he wants to be a she. That's Dwayne Wade was, and this is nothing new. It's a big deal because he's Dwayne Wade. He's a big-time macho star athlete, and he's accepting the fact that his son, who you would think an NBA player would probably prefer to have his son be a macho basketball player like himself, but he decided when he was 3 that he was a girl, and his parents, Dwayne Wade and his wife, they decided that that this 3-year-old boy, was mentally and emotionally mature enough to decide that for the rest of his life, instead of being a male person, he wanted to be a girl, and they go along with it. So they've said that this 12-year-old daughter that they're calling her now was capable of making that decision at 3. Now, this is an issue that's gigantic, and everybody talks about it, and it's a controversial issue. But I went on Google just to look to see if I could find any story that showed any disagreement with this, or didn't necessarily celebrate the fact that Dwayne Wade is allowing his 3-year-old son, or did allow his 3-year-old son, to decide that he was a girl at the age of 3, and that there's not another side of the story that maybe it's not a good idea. As far as I know, I didn't hear this whole interview with Dwayne Wade today, but I'm guessing that was not part of the discussion today. The discussion today was all about what a wonderful parents Dwayne and his wife are for allowing their 3-year-old child to decide that he is not the sex that he was born with. He's actually going to spend his life as a female. We've had guests on the show to talk about that it's actually a sickness, and that this person, this boy, girl, whatever you want to call him or her, is in for a good chance that this kid is going to be in for a tough life, and lots of suicide issues with transgender. But on Good Morning America today, it was all wonderful and celebrating a brilliant move by the parents. And I like to see the other side of the story, but fat chance of that happening.
The John Steigerwald Show is a production of AM 1250 The Answer and Salem Media Group.
Do you or your business have financial problems? Are you overwhelmed with debt? Then call me, attorney